Hello everybody, today we're talking about live share, which is a feature you can use in Visual Studio 2019 or 2017 and in Visual Studio Code. Now I have to mention that this is for Windows users only, so if you're using Mac or Linux, they may not apply to you. Now, just a little recap of what live share actually is. It's this real-time pair programming tool which allows you to view and edit the code that the other person has in their project. It allows you to show the problem to somebody else without screen captures or any of that hassle, so the other person can just join in. You can pick if you want to just view or if you allow the other person to also edit the code as well. But we will get into that. We will look at the settings and the setup of this live share feature. We are using Visual Studio 2019 Community, which is the easiest version because the live share feature is already installed, and basically all you may have to do to get it working is to make sure that it's updated. We will also go through all the cool features it has and give you the basic understanding of this live share feature. So let's get right into it. Here I have the default .NET Core 2.2 application. It's called live share demonstration because that's what we are doing here today, and it's the default version of it. I haven't made any modifications to it because it doesn't really matter what the project is. The first thing you want to do when using live share is open up the live share window. So we can do it by going to View and Other Windows, and then live share. I just noticed if I use these menu bars, you cannot actually see the menu bar, so I have to change to monitor view at this point. And now I'm gonna show it again. So it's View, Other Windows, and then live share. So that will allow you to see the live share window next to the Solution Explorer. And if you cannot do this, if it gives you an error about saying something about insiders, you need to be insider, then just go to Tools and Options. Make sure you are on Live Share Settings. Pick the General. Then you have this Features setting in here, and it needs to be set to Insiders. By default, it's in the stable mode, so just pick the Insiders one. Press OK, and then go to the View and Other Windows and Live Share. So it will show you that. If it doesn't show you the live share window at this point either, then just make sure you have updated the Visual Studio, especially if you have some kind of updates relating to live share. I had the problem with that, but once I updated Visual Studio, it worked just fine. So now we have the live share window in here. We can see the settings. There is this start session, there's the read only session, and all of these other windows are closed except join session. So you can join other sessions from here as well. Now I noticed this is kind of small, so I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, I hope this works for you. So there is these settings on here, and other settings are closed at the moment because we are not in any session. So I wanna start the session in one of these things. The first one will allow editing of the software, and the second one is read only. And at the moment I'm gonna start the read only one. And now I can see that I have no participants. And the next thing I want to do is allow other people to join in the session. And I can do that by sending them a link. So I'm gonna copy the link in. There is this copy link setup. And the next thing I'm going to do is act like I'm the other person trying to join in the session. So the next thing I'm going to do is just launch a new version of Visual Studio. And I'm gonna add that window so we can actually see that. So this will act like the participants that will join in our session. And we can see that at the moment we don't have the live share window open, and we're just gonna quickly do that. Just press live share, and we could join the session in here. And we can enter the link through here. The other way you can join in a session, it's just pasting the link in a browser, which will make the browser ask you if you want to open the Visual Studio, and then it will open a Visual Studio, blah blah blah. But if you have the Visual Studio already open, this may be the quickest way to join in a session. Now, nothing happened when I pressed the join in bar. I cannot see anything. There's nothing on my solution. Even though I already joined in, it looks like the participant is not in the session. Why is that? It's because I need to approve the participants joining as a host. So I'm just gonna press accept, and after that we can see that I managed to join in the session. If we look at the settings, there are quite a few things we may need to fix. One thing is the increased guest limit. I'm gonna use the lens again, so it's a bit easier for you to see. So if we look at these features, the first thing you may want to do is increase guest limit. By default, it's set to false, which means that only 5 people can join in the session. If you set it to true, it allows 30 people to join in the session. So that may be something you need to do. Also, this authentication is quite important. So do you allow anonymous guests to join in, people who haven't logged in to Visual Studio? If you don't want that, then set it to reject or allow, or was there a prompt version? I may have to look. So yes, prompt. Prompt means that they will ask you each time somebody tries to join in the session. Now, require guest approval was the reason why I needed to approve the guest. You can set it to false if you want everybody just be able to join in. You don't want to click yes for each participants. But if you really want to make sure only the right people can join, then set it to true. Then there are these code debugging. And you allow the guest to control or start and end the debugging. It may not be a feature you want on if you are trying to, let's say, teach the debugging session to 30 students and they're all starting and stopping the debugging. So maybe set it to false if that's not something you want. If you want somebody else to debug the session for you, just maybe you have like a bug and you're trying to pair program, look for the bug together, then it's fine. And then there is this share web app on debug. So if you start a debug session, will it start the web app on your participants as well, or will it start only for you? There is the co-editing. So will it show flag on the participants? And focus behavior. So as a host, you can always send this kind of focus request for participants, which allows them to quickly join into the file and part of the file where you are. But the participants can also send you focus requests, and you can decide what to do with those. Or you can prompt it, so it will ask you each time if you want to join in where they are, or you can just reject it, or always allow it. And I personally like the prompt one, because if you have like 30 people in there and they're all sending you focus requests as a joke, then if they're like students, then it will not be a good idea. You can also share the terminal as well, and yeah, that's it. So once you have your settings working, then it's time to start actually showing how it works. So I'm a host at the moment, and I can see that I have 1 participant. I can also see that as a guest I can view the code now, and in live share window I can see 1 participant. It looks like there's only 1 participant, but there's actually 2. It's just me twice because I'm using the same account for the host and the participant part. But this tab, I can press it, which means that I will follow the host. So now I will follow it. So if I, as a host, if I go to Program CS, I will also go to Program CS as a participant. If I go to Startup, I will instantly go to Startup as a participant as well. Maybe I'll just place this window here so you can see it more clearly. Now, if you want to hide something, there are these files that you want to hide from the participants, then you can go to git ignore. I don't have a git ignore. I will just quickly add a git ignore file. Now I have a nice git ignore. Of course, this class is not something we want in here. Let's just remove it. Now let's say I have this pages file in here, and if I want to hide it from the participants, I can just write it to the git ignore file, which means that once I go to the file setting in as a participant, you can see that there is no pages file in here, so I cannot see it. I can, however, see which files you hide from me, but since I cannot edit, this is a kind of quick fix way to hide files from the participants if you are on read-only mode. Of course, this will not work if you are not on read-only mode, because the participants cannot actually see the hidden files by default, but of course they can go to git ignore and edit it themselves. Now, of course, as a host, you can always follow a participant as well. So now I am following one of my participants, and if the participant decides to go in a file, like let's say startup, I will go to startup as well. If I try to edit this file, let's say program, and I try to write something in here, it doesn't allow me to. I cannot make a new line or write anything in the file because it's in read only. Now, as a participant, I am at the end of this line with my cursor, and if we go to see the host side, I can see this little flag in here. That was one of the settings that we looked before. I can see that, oh, the person is in here, and of course the flag will change once I go through this file. So it's kind of easy to see where the other person is going. So if you are debugging the session, if you are looking at the problem, you can quite easily try to do it together. That's a really cool feature. Now, because I'm a participant here, if I try to, so this is the participant side. If I try to debug the session, it will not allow me to do that. This is the host. I can do it as a host. You can see that on participant side, it will also open the web app. You cannot see the browser, but it opens two browsers for me now. One for the participant and one for the host. So it's a really cool feature as well. So you can like see how it looks and how it behaves. Yeah, so now I have the onGet method and I have the breakpoints. And you can actually see it, the breakpoint in here as a participant. But what you cannot see is the watch. So at the moment I'm writing something, some value in this watch list, but I cannot see it in here. So okay, so I cannot see it on the participant side, but now I'm in the debug session, so I can see that the other fisheye has a cursor in there. What I cannot see, however, are the watch that he is setting up. It looks like it's locked from me. If I go to the host side and kinda like go one forward, I can see it here, but yet again there's no variables for me to play around, which is kinda silly. I wish you could see the locals and other variables, like even this is not visible for me as a participant, which kinda sucks. But right now I'm going to shut the debug session off, and I'm also going to stop the session. So how do you stop it? You press this red button in here and it will just stop sharing the session and everybody gets kicked out. And next thing, I want to try the normal session. So I will just start the session from this, and now it's on. I will copy the link and I will go to this session and I will join the session, and I am in. Right, so next I'm going to edit the code. I'm going to start up, and as you can see, I'm already editing it. I'm placing some new lines, and I'm just gonna follow the process as well while I'm being host. So now I'm going to the participant side. I'm just going to add a comment in here, and as you can see, they are both seeing the same results. So this is kind of cool. Also, I think I'm sharing the same watch list. So I'm going to start the debugging mode while I'm being the host. And what it's going to do is, I think it will ask me if I want to join as a participant to that same debug session. Let's see how it works. So now it says invitation link copied to clipboard. Send it to anyone you trust. Blah, 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 make read only. Oh, that was the previous one. That was when I copied the link. Now you can see on my participant side that it's asking me that if I want to join the debug session, and I can do that by clicking this link. Join a session now. It also says that the host has started collaborative debugging session that you can join. So it's telling me the same thing twice. I'm going to just pick this one for now. I'm joining the session, and yes, I'm seeing the watch list now, the locals, the autos. Let's see if I can add something to the watch list. I cannot. Can I add a new variable here? Let's add n variable in here, and I'm not seeing it on my watch list as a participant, which is kind of a lame thing. I would have hoped that you can actually see these results if you are not in the read-only mode. So I'm a little bit disappointed. What I can see are the breakpoints. Unable to go to the breakpoint. Oh, that's a bit lame. However, I can see where the other person is going. So this is the host, and if I debug this further as a host, I can see where the host is going, but oh man, I wish I could see the variables that the host is seeing. I'm just gonna have a quick view again at the settings, especially code debugging, allow guest control, true, debug session, join behavior prompt, share web app on debug, true. Co-editing, flag visibility is always on, focus behavior prompt, read only user visibility, and share external files. I'm not seeing any setting that would let me see these files in here. Let's see if I can start the debug session as a participant. I'm just going to pick the solution in here and then starting the debug session, and it's letting me start the debug session, which is kind of nice. And as a host, again, I cannot see the variables. Also, I cannot actually debug it from here, can't I? No, it's not letting me to debug. I can debug it from this host. So this is kinda unusual or unexpected behavior. I started the debugging on the participant side, but the only place I can actually debug it is from the host side. So that's an interesting solution that this live share feature has. Also, I cannot stop the debug session either. So if I just end the debug session from the host side, and let's try that again, I will start the debug session again. The host, it's saying the same message, so it's almost the same as I would have started it. Oh, okay. So yes, I needed to. Did you see that? It showed me a while that I was on debug mode and I had all the controls, and then it just stopped, and now the controls are nowhere. Oh, that was odd. Let's try that again. As you can see, the controls are in the host side, and I'm getting something in here. One or more error occurs. Failed to launch debug adapter. So as you can see, the debugging is still not fully functional, I think. They need to update some features in it. I would hope that they at least update the ability to view watch list and the ability to see the actual debugging other person's perspective. That would be really useful. But other than that, like the editing and the possibility to see where the other one is going, and the ability to send notifications. So I don't think we went through this before, so I can just send focus participants and it will then send the request to the host. So it just asked me if I want to focus, and if I didn't click it fast enough, I can always see them from my notifications view, and these are all the notifications from today. Most recent one is on the top, so I'll just follow, and then I'm in the same place as the other person was. I think those were all the basic settings and features that you can have in LiveShare. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope this was useful. Now you can go and test it out on yourself. Just let me know in the comments if you noticed some updates on the settings or in the features. If I missed something, you can let me know. And I will see you next week with a brand new topic. If you have any requests, then just let me know in the comments as well. I have a couple of cool ideas, something new and fresh. So just keep in tuned, and I'll see you in a week.